This is actually 2025, and I actually believe that this year you want to make more money, you want to have financial freedom, you want to have financial liberty, you want to create a situation where your money will actually be working for you, where you don't have to toil, when you don't have to hustle, when you don't have to work day and night like an elephant and actually eating like an ant. You see, in 2025, it is very important that we start this year on a good platform, that we start this year on a good foundation, that we start this year without making any form of financial blunder or any form of financial mistake, because the way you actually start this year will determine how you're going to end this year. And I believe that you actually started this year on a good platform. Now, for us to actually continue this act of starting the year and ending the year triumphantly, financially, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, it is very imperative that we look at some certain things that can actually help us to achieve all these our whims and their caprices. You see, in 2025, we need to make good and better financial options when it comes to money, when it comes to finances, when it comes to how we actually spend our money. You see, to make a better investment in 2025, you need to reduce or cancel some certain media platforms. These media platforms, by the time we actually calculate how much we're spending each month on each of them times the numbers of months that we have in a year, you are going to realize that you are actually spending a lot of money or a lot of fortune. Media platforms, or these social media platforms, or media platforms, I may call them, are actually where we watch our movies 24/7 every day, 24/7 every day, 365 days in a year, depending on your subscription. If that is, if you are able to subscribe to them every month, and we watch movies, both local movies, international movies, documentaries, and the rest of them, and we are actually spending a lot of money on these media platforms. I don't want to mention some of them, but some of them know what I'm talking about, because we are spending a lot of money. And of recent, these media platforms have actually increased their money, and Nigerians have actually, or some group of people took them to the court to challenge the increment, the unnecessary increment in the subscription of these media platforms. And apart from that, we also see some increments in our telecommunication sector through the NCC, where people have to pay a lot of money now to make phone calls and also to use their data on the internet. All these are all the effects of what I call inflation. So inflation is biting hard now, and that is why it is very important when you actually invest your money. Because when you actually invest your money, this is where you can actually escape the ends of what I call the negative effect of what we call inflation. So investment is the surest path to wealth creation. Investment is the surest path to financial liberty and financial independence. You see, according to a report by GeoPol in 2019, it was discovered that Nigerians actually spend 3 hours 15 minutes watching TVs on daily basis. 3 hours 15 minutes watching movies, and that is an average. You see, some people actually watch movies for at least 18 hours in a day. Some people watch movies for 10 hours. So it actually varies, and that's why on the average it was actually 3 hours 15 minutes. Now imagine what you can actually do with your life every day with the 3 hours 15 minutes you actually wasted watching those videos, watching those movies, watching those documentaries, and those things that you are actually working. When you are actually supposed to be thinking of building your money, you are actually watching movies every day, 3 hours 15 minutes. This is just a tip of an iceberg on how far people are actually going in watching TVs every day. I'm not saying you should not watch TV. I'm not saying watching TV is not good. We get a lot of advantages when we actually watch TVs. But on the other hand, it has its own negative effect. Social media is very good. Social media is very advantageous, but the negative effect is also there as well. So while we have the advantage, we also have the disadvantages. Watching TVs for 3 hours and 15 minutes every day is not a very, very good one. People are actually complaining they are not making money. They are very poor, they are all poorly, and things are not moving well for them. But they fail to take into cognizance the numbers of hours they use in watching TVs on a daily basis. So people are not making a lot of money due to the fact that they do not have enough free time. You see, a lot of us are not making money because we don't have enough free time. The little free time that we are supposed to have, or we are supposed to use efficiently, or we are supposed to use to our own advantages, are actually used in watching those movies on TVs and all those movies or TVs or media platform that we pay monthly subscription for, and we waste a lot of time. And that's why we are always complaining that we don't have money, we don't have enough in our pockets, we don't have investment, we don't have savings and the rest of them, because we actually spend more time watching TVs while we are supposed to spend more time on some certain profitable things, which I'm going to discuss in this video. Now, it has been proven that for you to be able to have a mastery of something in life, you need to learn that thing for at least a period of 10 hours. So what we're saying there is that if you want to learn something, whether in academics or in any field of endeavors, and you want to have what I call a mastery of that particular thing, or you want to have a grasp of that particular thing, you need to spend at least 10 hours studying and learning about that thing. And after that 10 hours, if you're able to dedicate at least 10 hours of your time learning that thing, it is believed that you become or have a mastery of that particular thing. You become a master of that particular thing. In other words, you become a master of anything, particularly those things that you're actually learning about. You take 500 hours to learn some certain things, you are going to become a master, a genius. You're going to become an expert in that particular thing. Now, this is more greater than when I said 10 hours. Now, imagine you spend 500 hours in a year learning something. What do you think is going to happen? So imagine if you actually spend 500 hours of your time in a year to learn something, maybe about how to make money, or financial education, on education itself, or businesses, or marketing, or crypto, or the rest of them. You are going to have a mastery of that particular thing. And that's the power of what we call information. That's the power of when you are willing and dedicated to something that you wanted to learn about that particular thing. Imagine if you actually invest 3 hours and 15 minutes of your time into learning something for a year. You have actually invested 700 hours into that particular thing. That is, for example, if you actually invested 3 hours and 15 minutes of your time every day for the next 1 year, which you are going to have 700 hours in a year. 700 hours. That is, if you calculate 3 hours and 15 minutes every day within a year, you're going to have what we call 700 hours. Now, if you actually dedicate that 700 hours in a year to learning something very profitable, something very productive, something that can add a value to your life, something that can turn your life around, something that can make you a master in that particular thing, something that can make you to become rich, something that can make you to become sophisticated and well educated and well versed in that particular thing. For example, educational development, you are going to go very, very far in life. So rather than watching those movies 3 hours 15 minutes every day, why don't you dedicate that 3 hours 15 minutes of your life every day to learning something new, something different, most especially in financial development in relation to what we call financial education. This is 2025. You need to make a decisive decision regarding this. So through this, you can actually develop a different mindset and learn how to earn what I call money. So if you want to earn money, if you want to be rich, if you want to be superfluous, if you want to be wealthy, then dedicate 3 hours 15 minutes of your time. Instead of watching those movies, instead of watching that TV, dedicate that 3 hours 15 minutes of your life every day for the next 1 year, making 700 hours in a year. Your life is going to change, and in other words, you are going to learn That is, if you're actually learning in that area of how to actually make money. So when you have or dedicate or invest more of your time into financial education, there is every possibility with 99.99% assurances that you are going to learn more about how to earn money. So time is very, very important in life. So time is the number one tool that you actually need to have access to whatever you need in their life. That is, we all have equal time in life, 24 hours of our lifetime every day. But how do you use that time? So imagine you now invest more of your resources into time management. You invest more of your time into effective time management. Now, what are you going to achieve? You are going to achieve very much in their life. In other words, you are going to be building a lot of wealth for yourself. So time is the number one tool that we have access to. We all have access to it. And when you are actually able to use them very, very well, they will give you a lot of advantages at the end of the day. So the person watching movies every day, spending 3 hours 15 minutes of his time, of his free time every day to watch movies, and the person using 3 hours 15 minutes of his lifetime every day, learning something great, learning on the internet, learning and reading books about financial development, about marketing, about financial education, about how to build up himself and create more wealth for himself, you are going to discover that there's going to be a great difference or great differences between the both of them. They are not the same thing. Somebody watching movies every day is not or cannot be equated to somebody using that 3 hours 15 minutes of his time to read books, to read about financial development, to read about financial education. At the end of the day, one is going to make more money, and at the end of the day, the other one is not going to make more money. I'm not saying it's not going to make money, but it's going to make lesser money. So when you dedicate more time, when you put more effort into something more profitable, more productive, at the end of the day, it's going to give you a tangible result. And look at it this way: if both of them, the individual watching movies every day and the individual using that 3 hours 15 minutes of his time every day to learn about something that can be productive in his life, now calculate it in the next 10 years. How is it going to be like between the two individuals? The one watching movies every day for 3 hours 15 minutes and the one actually dedicating his time and resources into learning something that can actually help him to build his wealth in the next 10 years. By the time you check these two individuals, you are going to see a clear differences between the two of them. One will make more money than the other one. So when you put more resources into financial education, dedicating most of your time and energy and resources into it, it's going to build you up and make you more stronger. It actually costs you nothing to allocate or reallocate your time to something else apart from watching movies. It costs you nothing. If you actually reallocate your time from watching movies into dedicating your time into something else more productive, at the end of the day, it costs you nothing. So the decision is actually yours. Are you going to put more of your time into watching movies every day, or you are going to put more of your time into something that can actually make your life to turn around and create more wealth for you? You need to read more books on finances. You need to read more books that can actually edify you, that can actually build you up, that can actually make you to become rich. There are so many books out there. There are so many things that you can actually read that can actually better your life and make you rich within the twinkling of an eye, or through what I call a decade of sacrifice. So what we're saying here is that dedicate more of your time, allocate more of your time into things that can actually make your life to be productive, that can actually contribute positively to the development of your finances and your money, and creating wealth for yourself. So rather than watching movies, why don't you reallocate that time into reading books, to watching movies or programs that can actually edify you and build you up financially and make you rich at the end of the day? There are so many books outside there, like for example, Rich Dad Poor Dad, reading books from Dave Ramsey and the rest of them. They're all there on the internet. You can read them in the books, or you can watch them on the YouTube and other exciting platforms like that can actually help you to build your life. So if your goal is actually to build wealth, if your goal is to become financially independent, if your goal is actually to become wealthy, if your goal is actually to become rich, then this video is actually for you. So if your goal is to build wealth and become financially independent, you need to stay focused on those things that can actually build you up at the end of the day, rather than watching and dedicating most of the time on watching movies. Like I said earlier, watching movies is not a crime. I like to watch movies. I watch movies sometimes, but I do not allow that to affect my programs and my focus. Do you get it now? So if after I'm going to watch movies or anything, it has to be something that can add value to my life and not something that cannot gain anything at the end of the day. So it is time for us to change our mindset. It is time for us to have a rethink about how we actually spend our time every day. So at least in a day, dedicate 3 hours, 15 minutes of your time into doing something that can actually build you up in your life at the end of the day. A lot of people will say that it's very hard, it's very cumbersome, it is very difficult for someone to make it in life. But I want to assure you that if you are well dedicated, if you are disciplined, if you are pragmatic, if you are resilient, if you are determined, if you are focused, you can actually achieve your dreams and caprices at the end of the day. So you need to make some sacrifices, because becoming rich or wealthy is actually a sacrifice. Now the question is, how far are you willing to make the sacrifice? To become rich is actually a decade of sacrifice. A lot of people will say, I want to become rich today, I want to become rich tomorrow, I want to become, very, very wealthy. But they actually fail to understand that becoming wealthy is actually a decade of sacrifice. Becoming wealthy is something that you have to build over time. Becoming wealthy or rich is something that you have to build over and over time. So becoming wealthy is not something that you have to build within the twinkling of an eye or within a short period of time. It's actually a decade of a sacrifice. It's like you are planting a tree and you are, watering that tree, caring for that tree, and looking after that tree every day. After some time, that little tree or baby tree is going to germinate into a very big tree, and people begin to wonder, when did you plant this tree? That is how life is. So if you want to achieve anything in life, you need to be able to make a sacrifice. You need to pay the price, which is called a sacrifice. So becoming wealthy is actually a decade of sacrifice. It's something that you have to continuously put your money into it over time and watch your money grow over time as well. So this entails that if you want to be very wealthy or rich, you need to spend less and invest more and in more. That is, if you want to become wealthy and rich, you need to invest more into investment portfolios, and you need to spend less money at the end of the day, but earn more money. And how do you earn more money? You can actually go for what I call diversification or portfolio investment, or you can actually go for what I call new skills, acquiring new skills, acquiring new ideas, going for educational, development, or going for one degree or the other, or going for one training or the other. Or you can actually also grow by looking for what we call multiple streams of income that can actually generate more money for you at the end of the day. For some of us, when we come back from work, we always relax and sleep off. Whereas at that time, you don't need to sleep off and relax. You can also open a shop there where you can go and open there at the end of the day when you come back from your primary assignment. So what I'm saying here is that you need to reallocate your time for something productive, something meaningful, something that can actually build you up at the end of the day. So work to build your wealth. You need to work to build your wealth. So if you want to become wealthy in 2025, you need to work to build your wealth, and you need to make the sacrifice. You need to be dedicated, you need to be resilient, you need to be hardworking, you need to be determined, you need to be focused, you need to be pragmatic, you need to be productive, you need to change your mindset at the end of the day. Most importantly, you need to change your mindset. And what's your mindset here? The way you think. A lot of us have a very negative mindset. A lot of us actually have a dilapidating mindset. A lot of us actually have what we call a limiting mindset. We have this mindset that is not a great mindset. It's a static mindset. It's a stagnant mindset. It's a negative mindset. It's a mindset that cannot actually help us at the end of the day. So for you to build wealth, you need to change your mindset. You need to think positively. And most importantly, most of us, we find ourselves in a situation of people that can always bring us down. We find ourselves in the midst of people that are always very toxic. always toxic. They don't have any value to our life, but rather they will discourage you, they will bring you down, they will make you feel, not, insignificant. They will make you feel, not being encouraged. They will make you feel down. They'll bring your spirit down. They'll bring your morals down. They, discourage you. They disappoint you. They don't have any value to add to your life. These are toxic people. This kind of people, you need to avoid them in 2025. So you need to move with people that can build you up, that can elevate you, that can bring you up, that can encourage you, that can have a value to your life, that can actually make you to have a routine of a mindset, that can actually make you to achieve your dreams faster. These are the kind of people that you should move with in 2025. What I'm saying here is that you need to avoid things that can make it hard for you to think positively. This is 2025. We need to make a change. We need to change our mindset. We need to change our orientation. We need to change the way we think, the way we do, what we do, and those things that we're not supposed to do. And one of those things are the social media platforms that actually take most of our time. Because most times, even adults, they spend most of their time watching these movies, watching these things, and it's not adding any value to their life. So 2025, you need to add more value to your life by changing your orientation, by changing what you actually do every day, and putting more time into those productive things that can actually help you to build up yourself at the end of the day. Because if you want to be wealthy, then it's that time you invest in time. Because time is actually the tool that nobody have access to, but we can control how we actually want to use it. That's what I'm saying here is that time is a tool that should be used to elevate us, to add more value to our life, and not something that will not add value to our life. Like those things that we do that does not add any value to our life. Like when we watch those TVs and the rest of them, most times of the day, 365 times in the year, and most of us are complaining that we are not making money. So if you want to make money, if you want to be prosperous, if you want to be wealthy, if you want to be rich, then it is that time you dedicate more time into those things that can actually make your life worthwhile and add value to your life.